I love to paint. I love painting so much. I'll show you one of my big pieces that I've done. It's in the back here. Just wait. Hi Jazz, how's your day? Do you like to paint? What type of things do you like to paint? Maybe you could tell me what you like to paint. You know, that's really good. That little jingle's by my son, by the way. Just love it. And he created it for me because for this little session because he's a musician, and that's what he does. So there we go. That's so say hi everybody. And nice to see you for story time. And I found this book and I just like, oh my goodness, I love to paint. So I just have to buy this book and I have to read it and I have to share it with everybody because it's just it's just gonna be so much fun. So it is I Ain't Gonna Paint No More by Karen Beaumont and David Catro. I mean, I imagine he had the best time illustrating this book. It's just great. And look at the back as well. Like, it's just a big splat of colour. Beautiful rainbow. It just looks fabulous. I love it. Yep. So, here we go. We're hopping on for story time. It says here, a dab of blue here and a splash of red there. A goop smear of green everywhere. Just don't tell Mama. Shh. To the tune of it Ain't Gonna Rain No More. So forgive me, I might sing a little bit. But before I get into painting, of course, I have to have my paint shirt on, and I, of course, have a big drop mat down there because what's worse than getting paint out of carpet? Nothing. Every little bit of water you put on, it just keeps spreading. So it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. So here we go. I ain't gonna paint no more. Hold it up nice and close so you can see. I ain't gonna paint no more. One day my mama caught me painting pictures on the floor and the ceiling and the walls and the curtain and the door. I heard my mama holler like I'd never heard before. What did she say? Yeah, ain't gonna paint no more. Look at him in the bath. I ain't gonna paint no more, no more. I ain't gonna paint no more. Oh, that's a bit sad. And look, where's Mama putting all his colours? And how does he feel? Does he feel colourful? No, he's not looking so colourful now. That's what I want to say, but there ain't no way that I ain't going to paint no more. Ha ha ha. And he's smiling as he gets his paints out of the cupboard. So I take some red and I paint my head. No, I ain't gonna paint no more. Oh, what the heck? Gonna paint my neck. No, I ain't gonna paint no more. Still, I just can't rest till I paint my chest. No, I ain't gonna paint no more. Guess there ain't no harm if I paint my arm. No, I ain't gonna paint no more. I ain't gonna paint no more, no more. I ain't gonna paint no more. But I just can't stand not to paint my hand. Hey, I ain't gonna paint my hand. No, I ain't gonna paint no more. Now I see some black, so I paint my back. Now I ain't gonna paint no more. Like an Easter egg, gonna paint my... What's he gonna paint? What's he gonna paint? I want to paint my leg. No, I ain't gonna paint no more. Still, I ain't complete till I paint my feet. He's gonna paint his feet. No, I ain't gonna paint no more. Is he all covered yet? Ha. Now, I ain't gonna paint no more, no more. I ain't gonna paint no more. But I'm such a nut, gonna paint my what? Y'all don't faint, 'cause there ain't no paint, so I ain't gonna paint no more. You see him in the bath? He's got a towel over his head. He's got his arms crossed because he's run out of paint. What colour is he going to come out of this bath? Hey, what colour is he going to come out? Is he going to come out clean? Maybe not. Maybe not. He might turn out like a rainbow, like a beautiful coloured Easter egg. Hey, the Easter eggs are beautifully coloured, beautifully painted. He might just look like a big coloured Easter egg. So this is his great story, which inspired a lot of fun for painting. So if you like painting, I've got a few ideas here for you tonight. So I've got to put my book out the way because I don't want to get paint on my book. And I showed you a little video clip before on how to make a pattern, which this doesn't look like much, but I'd show you how we made it and then how you can turn it into something. And over the years I have done this many times, and I used to make little pencil cup holders, and this is one I made for my daughter Elizabeth, and you can see the pattern has been there, and it sort of looks marbly in a way. So that's sort of the look we're going to create. So here we go. Are you ready? Who do I have to say hello to here? Hi, Jacob and Missy, Tarrant and Ragnar. Wow, 4 of you guys up there tonight. And Addie and Rex and Marley. And hello from the guests. Hello, lovely Elliot and Spencer. How you going? You having a good day? Hey, I wish I could hear you guys, but this is just the way it is. So I'm going to lower my screen so you can see what's going on down here. Okay, can you see? Okay, here's my hands. So this is just quite simply, well, there's one. Nope, I messed them all up. I've messed them all up, but that's okay. So these are just pieces of craft wood that I got from Bunnings, and they are what you call a placemat where you put your dinner on. Now remember, I've already got my paint shirt on because I don't want to get paint on my clothes, and I have paint drop sheet on the floor so that the paint doesn't go on the floor. And that's very important because there's nothing worse than getting paint out of carpet because it's really hard. And remember, if you guys make a mess, you have to clean it up. Okay, so here we go. We've got a white board that I painted before, and I just simply got white paint. See, that's white paint, and I just popped that on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some colours on. And this colour, I thought I'd put some purple on. And a lot of people are really loving aqua at the moment, so I thought purple and aqua with the white, it might look really good. Now the thing is, you have to put on enough paint, but then not too much paint as well. So, and put your lids on your paint. The reason you put your lids on the paint is so that they don't dry out, okay? And then, here we go. I got a spray bottle. There's only water in it. That's all, just water. And so this is really good to make your hands strong. And I spray it, and all of it bleeds out. You see it's bleeding? And then I get good old cling wrap. Cling wrap, just like you would wrap up your lunch. And I pop that on there. And I push it over the top. And this is where the magic happens. because this is when you squish it all out. Whoops. Get rid of that. And then I'm just going to move this around a little bit. Okay, I'll push it this way and I'll push it that way, and I'm just pushing it around. And you can use whatever colours you like. You can use dark blue and light blue together, or you can use pink and purple. You can use whatever colours. You can just do black and white, whatever colours make you happy. But I think the thing what I learned is that if you always paint the background one colour, and then the colour that is, you put in the blobs of paint that you put on here, okay? So you kind of do that. And when you're moving it around, you're mixing, but not too much mixing. So see, they're just little movements. I'm not going whoosh, 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 because then if I do that, when too many colors just mix together, what happens? They just look like, it just ends up looking like mud, So you don't want it to look mud. You want the colors to look like the colors. You want them to be a little bit blended, but also a little bit mixed. So we just sort of push it around. And see, the plastic has also got I made it like I put little mountains on it and rivers, so it's all wrinkly, because when I take it off, I want those wrinkles to stay. So here we go. This is where the magic happens. And I pull it off. And if I've used too much paint, which I have on that end, see, this end is nice. It's like, it shows but if I've used too much paint, or I make it too wet. So it's all about trying and getting it right. Now, what am I going to do with this? Okay, so I've got this piece down here, and I'll show you what happens with those once they're dry, with these other ones over here. But when I've got this like this, there is something that I can do just for fun. I'm just going to use the back of this one, and I can up and down, up and down, and up and down, and up and down, and I can create another pattern. So there's endless things to do, and craft wood is great for this pattern, but I also use it for paintings as well. And I have done some lovely paintings just by doing something like this in the background, and then putting my picture on top. Or I can, so you get a bit messy, which I don't mind getting messy, because that's why I have my top. See? And then, so that's a pattern all over by itself, isn't it? So that's a pattern up and down. Sorry if I wasn't showing you earlier. And again, you want to mix, but not too much. So I'm just going to pop that on there and put it over there. And I have very messy fingers, but I can't run to the bathroom just wash my hands, because you guys are here, and I got things to do, and sometimes that's what happens. You don't just run off to wash your hands every time you get a little bit of paint on them. It's not a problem. You can just keep going. Have a towel handy, just rub it off. It's okay. When you have a bath in the night time, you'll be fine. So when you can create colours and mix colours, any colours that you like, and this is where it gets really lovely. Okay, so on this one, I'll use some gold. So I get some gold paint, and I put it on my brush. I go using a skinny brush, and I'm just following the lines, and I'm just going to make some lines, some wiggly lines, and it just brings up what's already there. Really, I'm just bringing up what's already there, and I just create some lines, and I mix some water with my paint to help my paint move, because I want my paint to run with me. Okay, so you just make long lines and use the tip of your brush so it's nice and fine. And there you go. You create, so this is where the magic happens. And you just make it really pretty. So I'm highlighting the colours, I'm doing they're like veins, aren't they? Yeah. And that's one thing we can do. Okay? And if you want, you can, so it depends how much you like the gold. You know, there you go. That's one idea. So things don't always have to be plain. You don't just have to paint the whole thing one colour, you know, and pop a picture on the top. You can get really interesting with what you do. And you know, if you varnish this with a nice varnish, these great colours, then if you have some stickers, then you can use it to put some stickers on, and you can make a picture with your stickers. And so that could be a fun thing for you to do at home. But anyway, I'm going to stop because I think you understand what it is that we're doing and how you can make something really quite different and interesting. Oh, can you see it now? See? The gold highlights. And it just brings it up. How's that? Good. There you go. Ta-dum. So there we go. And then, of course, if you wanted to use silver on another one, I won't do all of this one, but, you know, you're just, again, following the lines, following what's here already and giving it some wiggly lines like it's marble. And I used a thicker brush tonight, but so it would be easier to see for you guys. But ordinarily I use a very fine brush, so it's very thin. Very thin, and it comes out really incredible. And did you see what I did then? I rolled the brush in my fingers. So as I was doing my stroke, I roll the brush so that my strokes get a bit wiggly. And that makes it interesting. There. And it's just as simple as that. It's like a storm, doesn't it? So you could make a storm. And it's a placemat, and you could have that for your dinner. So there you go. So put the paper on, the paint, paint it one colour, put your blobs of paint on, cover it with, spray it with some water, make it a bit wet. Don't make it too wet because you want the pattern to come up in it. And so you pull the glad wrap off, and then you let it dry, and then you do this second part by adding all the wiggly lines in the colour. So that's a nice thing to do. And I made a beautiful blue one once, and then I put a really lovely, you know, Santa Clauses, where you wish, you go, whew, like that. Then I did that too. So that was pretty cool. So here we go. Something that is heaps of fun. So I got a canvas, and on the canvas I put I did a background colour, sort of some blue and some green, and then I put some tape over it, just some masking tape, and then I put some string on it as well, just to make it a bit interesting. So when I put the paint on top, I'll show you different ways to put paint on that can be fun. So here we go. I just thought I'd have a bit of fun with this, you know, why not? I got lots of brushes, and I'm going to put this brush in the pink, and then I'm going to put this brush in the purple, and then I'm going to put this brush in the green, and I'm going to put this brush, whoops, that's a big one, isn't it? I'm going to put this one in the yellow. And I want the paint to be a little bit runny, you know. I don't want it to be too, I'm just going to hold them. I hadn't practiced. And then I'm going to get something else, and then I'm going to tap them. And what's happening? Aha! I'm making a pattern. So my pink needs some more water. if it's not dripping. So it's like an unpredicted pattern. I'm creating a rainbow, but I'm creating a rainbow like just where the paint falls. There they all come. Can you see? Another way to do it is I can tap underneath. And then all the colours are coming down. That's looking pretty good. So that's some way you can add the paint on. Of course, this way is a little bit messy. So you need maybe mum and dad to help you. You know, mum and dad might be around. But that's just something fun to do. And tap out. Lots of colour. So you can do them all together. You can do it any which way it's working for you. And just move all around. I see lots of little kids just go like in one spot, in one spot, in one spot. So guys, move around. Let's get it all around, because that makes it more beautiful. And you want it more beautiful. Something else that's lots of fun is a sponge. And I know that as a painter you have these sponges, but these are called sea sponges. But the sea sponges, you know, you might not have a sea sponge. So I just got a regular sponge, but I didn't want all the straight edges. So I just plucked them off. And then I wanted some holes in it because I wanted it to look like that. So I just kept picking them off, you know, just doing that. And so then if I want to add some colours down here, then I can sponge, sponge, sponge. And the amazing thing is, I'm doing lots of different things here, but when I've got the tape on, right? So I wanted to show you what happens when you have it on, and then all the string, either way, you have it on, and then when you take it off, that's where you're creating something else. So this isn't called an abstract painting, and it's because it's called an abstract because it's not really a this and it's not really a that. It's just what it is, you know. It's just what it is. It's interesting and it's different and it's yours. And when you're doing painting, that's the lovely thing about painting. You just make it yours. Whatever makes you happy, whatever colours make you happy, you just put them on. Okay, now that's enough. I'm just going to stop because I want to show you what happens when I take everything apart and take it all off. Normally you wait till it's wet. I mean it's dry, because it is wet, but we're not doing that. We're just getting on with it and taking it off and seeing there's a few lines there and there's some pieces missing. And there's artists who are super duper famous and hang their paintings up in galleries around the world, and they do these type of things just like you can do. You know, you don't have to be famous to do fancy stuff. You can do it too. Whoop, there we go. Pull that off. Whoops. And pull this off. So you can see what's happening. Well, there's some of it's there and some of it's not. Oh. I've got sticky tape stuck all over me. There we go. So I'm not out to make the most amazing painting right now, but just to show you guys some different things that you can do with paint. So you can splat it, you can sponge it, you can use it on a brush, you can use it under Glad Wrap, you can do all sorts of things. This one's on a canvas, see? So if I finish it off, I could put it on the wall. And other things I can do is I can even get a circle and I can put circles on. That's too much paint. So, spot, spot. I can put a spot over here and a spot over there. And you can even put spots on, and you can turn them into flowers or whatever you like. I'm going to put that down. Not my best work. Once upon a time I used to paint a lot, and I made this lovely piece here, and he's a beautiful big fish, as you can see, and he's very textured, so he's actually got a lot of ups and downs and bubblies, but you can see all the colours in him, and he's very rough. He's very rough to touch. So that's something that I made a long time ago. And with the making a fancy background, I made this one, and when I made it, oh, there's the magic hat. And when I made this background, I just really liked these colours and thought, well, what can I put in there that would look nice? And I thought, I'm just going to put an apple in there. And so sometimes you make a beautiful background and you just let your thoughts and your imagination go, and then you put whatever you think will look good into the middle of it. Now, okay, so lastly, over here we have a canvas, and what I wanted to talk to you about was paper. So paper has teeth, okay? So we all use this kind of paper, just a normal A4 paper, and we use it a lot. And if you put too much water on that, what will happen? It will just get a hole in it, okay? You've probably done it 100 times because it's only this thin, right, guys? So don't put too much water on it. You just make a hole. So, and the paper has teeth, and the reason the paper has teeth is so that it can grip, and it grips the paint or the chalk or the crayon, whatever it is you're putting on. So other things, you know, cardboard is a bit thicker, so it will hold a bit more water, but it's still a bit slippy. Then you can get special paper, and special paper is really, like, you can feel it. It's thick and it's rough to touch, and it's a bit thicker, and that really holds on to the paint, and it holds on to chalk if you're using chalk, like pastels. And I'm sure you all have one of these at some stage in your life, and these are very good for drawing. Not as good for painting, but they are really good for drawing with your pencils. So a big monster scrapbook, because it's just nice and smooth. Now what I did here, this is quite interesting because, you know, these pens, these pens, they're permanent markers. So you can have, they're called Sharpies, and a Sharpie or a permanent marker, when you add the paint colour, the paint won't make the won't make it bleed, won't make the textures bleed, because if you use if I get my brush and then I add some colours to my flowers, you know, if I add a little bit of colour, you see it doesn't bleed out. And that's what we say, okay, it doesn't bleed out. And we can put on some leaves and make it all look quite pretty. Yeah, there we go. So you can, so because I use the permanent markers, which Mum would have to make sure that, and Dad would have to make sure that, you know, you're okay to do that, then the water doesn't, from the paint, won't make your beautiful line drawings fade out. There you go. And there's just one other thing I wanted to show you before we finish, and that is with a sponge. And you know how with your with your pictures, right, with pictures when you're doing a painting, there's parts that are the sunlight hits. Okay, so say the sun's up here. So if the sun's up here, then my tree will be brighter up top, won't it? Okay, so if I just colour in my tree, and the leaves go all over. So that's the tree. Okay. Boom, boom. But on the underside of the tree, there's shade. So on the underside, I put some shade. And I make it a bit darker. On the underside, and that's the way my tree starts to come to life. I put the shade, the darker colour green in the shade, and then I put the lighter colour green up there, and then if I want to make it really nice and bright, I can add little white touches and even pale yellow touches to show where the sun is really shining and really hitting the tree. So with 3 colours and maybe a bit of white, you can bring a tree to life. It doesn't have to look flat. So there you go. And you can do that. How easy is that? Just don't overdo it. The more you do it, the more it will just look plain. So when you just stop, when it's ready, you just stop. And there you go. You make a beautiful garden picture. So I hope you've enjoyed tonight. That was a bit of fun, and I hope those the techniques that I put on here tonight. Maria and Neva, how are you, darling? I'm just thinking that these techniques that I've shown you when you're doing your painting will help open your thoughts up so that you know how to do different things, and a lot about painting is about how you put the paint onto the brush. You can put 2 colours on the brush at the same time, and of course that will make a different stroke. So it's not just about loading your brush up with paint so that it looks like you've got a big lump of ice cream or cereal. So I really hope you've enjoyed tonight and Storytime with Janice, which I upload onto YouTube, and you can watch anytime you like. So I hope you've all been well. We're almost out of lockdown. How incredible is that? We're really looking forward to being with our families and our friends again, and I really hope you've got through lockdown without too much difficulty. So love to you all, and have a good week. See you next week. Bye.